Hi, Sparkles, and welcome back to Intuitive Wisdom. This is episode 242, and today we're diving into our June insights with Christina, a conversation about growth, expansion, energy, and what becomes possible when we stop forcing and start allowing. But before we begin, I want to take a moment to celebrate something really special. Recently, I had a podcast audit done and discovered that Intuitive Wisdom is now in the top 10% of podcasts globally. And honestly, I had to pause and really let that land. Because growth is funny like that, isn't it? Sometimes the thing we think we're working toward, the thing we're quietly building with love and intention, is already unfolding before we fully recognize it. It existed before we knew it. And that's exactly part of today's conversation. What if growth isn't always about pushing harder, striving more, or chasing the next milestone? What if true expansion comes from appreciating where you are now and feeling satisfaction on a cellular level instead of moving from a place of lack? Because when we allow growth instead of forcing it, we surrender to what is here now. We create space for even greater possibilities to flow in. And speaking of growth, Intuitive Wisdom is getting a little summer glow up. A new podcast cover releases today, along with some exciting shifts behind the scenes that will feel more aligned, expansive, and deeply supportive of where this community is headed. In today's episode with Christina, we explore questions like, are you protecting your energy? Where are you drawing that line? Are your actions aligned with the life you want? And what are you truly tuning into this next month? Because momentum starts the moment we accept who we are and where we are now. Oh, and Christina does a card pull in this episode, of course, and like always, it is so wonderfully on spot and amazing. So if you've been craving permission to expand without exhaustion, to grow without pressure, and to trust what's already unfolding in your life, this conversation is for you. Here we go. Welcome to Intuitive Wisdom, a space where insight meets energy and intuition leads the way. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, author, Angel Reiki Master, biotech graduate, and a guide for those seeking alignment in their home and life. Whether you're navigating change, clearing emotional clutter, or simply craving clarity, Intuitive Wisdom invites you to slow down, tune in, and rise into your authentic self. New episodes weekly. Come home to your own knowing. Hello, Christina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, K. Margaret?
I'm doing well. We just had a quick recap and we're like, what's one word we could use? And May was so full. It's hard to find one word, but what came up for me was growth. I think and not the pushing kind of growth, the expansiveness that comes from allowing, which is, I feel like, is from our conversation last time. I'm working through, I'd done coaching with you and you'd given me this wonderful 90-day plan. So I'm now starting month 2 of that 90-day plan. It feels like, it's the right word, momentum is building, which is really exciting. And that feels like part of growth. I had a podcast audit, which is really exciting with a podcast. It's not called a media channel, but Magic Thread Media, and it was really interesting. And one thing I learned is Intuitive Wisdom is now in top 10% globally.
Oh, congrats! Right? Amazing.
They were congratulating me, and I was like, wait, where did you read that? I need that. Yeah. So that's super exciting. So that's been pause for reflection and celebration and like acknowledging that growth and inspiring, because I'm like, well, nice. Now I want to show up like that, now that I know that. So I've been thinking about, and she gave me some really great tips in that podcast audit. Was like, where are you now? What could you do better? And I love the, how can I be better tips? Cause it's just, I find it all very inspiring. So kind of, those were some main growth things on my end, but it all, I was going to say bleeds into each other. It was not really, maybe a positive adjective, but all, I was thinking, of watercolors coming together.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, you said that growth, but allowing. What do you think that we talked a little bit at the last episode on like how you were approaching things when you were looking at and being able to have this experience versus maybe growth times in the past? How does it feel different, and how have you been able to tune into that allowing more?
Good question. It feels different in that I think allowing is a really appropriate word. Before it used to felt like pushing. Like I could see the goal. I knew I was worthy of the goal, but I wasn't there. Like I mean, in my world, we could talk about energy and frequency all the time. So I just was not at that frequency and I could tell the difference. So it felt like a push, like I need to be over here. I need to be over here. There was no satisfaction in where I am.
Mhm.
And I have now come to appreciate where I am and acknowledge that it's not where I thought I would be, but it's part of the process. That's good. Also, if I give up where I thought I would be and I'm happy here, that surrender is not a failure. It's a acknowledgement that it opens up possibilities. Like what I want could be different and better.
Mhm.
It's just it allows for the softening of those like rigid, it has to happen this way, or I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. So that allowing in the everyday, allowing my days to be different, allowing the goal, the dream to take shape as I continue working, allowing the excitement to grow, allowing the strategy to change, all those allowings.
Yeah. Well, and I think for our listeners too, one of the things that I want to make sure that I pause on for that too is that you mentioned that from before it felt like you weren't there and you had this idea of where you wanted to be and you weren't there, and so you were trying to push your way into it. And being able to step back and acknowledge where you are as part of the process, and that that wasn't a failure and it's just like part of it, has now opened up, because now you're not pushing from a sense of lack. You're like, this is where I am. This is where all the work that I've done has got me to here. I have so much more potential that I can bring in and so many more things that I want. And also, I'm going to not acknowledge all of this here so that I can just start to bring that in and be able to, like, it doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to be a set thing that I'm like forcing and pushing and trying to do it from. And I think that that space is so different, and it's really hard. I mean, even as you're talking to, I think it's really hard to communicate that difference because the words that we have just lack a little bit. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you have to just feel it and whatever, but you can literally, I mean, I can talking to you and seeing you, I think that having that like real sense of feeling it in your body, like it's not just talk now. It's not just, oh, I need to be able to let things come in and I know that I need to open myself up for receiving. It's really being able to feel it from a more cellular level, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the vibration flip, don't
Yes.
you think?
Amen. Yes. What came to mind while you were talking was, the saying, fake it till you make it, or you like smile when you're not. That was the feeling
Mm.
where it was very much, okay, I didn't feel like I was making it. So I'm going to fake it. So I'm going to feel awkward because I'm not being like, I'm being my authentic future self without being my authentic now self. It was this kind of odd disconnect and it didn't get me in. I mean, I learned a lot and I learned where I want to put my focus, but it really didn't start that momentum happening. And like you said, now that there's at a cellular level that acceptance and that acknowledgement and that actual feeling that I'm not failing, whereas before the fake it till you make it, the underlying feeling was failure, like
Right.
not there. And I don't feel that way, or I'm just not afraid of it anymore. I don't know how to describe that, but it definitely is a shift and it's makes it so much more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you bring that energy and fun. Okay, but wait, I want to go back. Okay, so you were saying like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm not getting what I want. I'm failing or whatever. And then this is happening like, okay, so these people reached out to you, you're in the top 10% of that. That's not all of a sudden just in the last couple of weeks. Like this has been in the process. So this has been happening in the background, and it's just confirmation that you're getting. that no, this is impactful. This is what I want to be doing. This is what I'm putting out there. Like all of my effort is actually going somewhere, but that existed whether you knew it or not. And
Yes.
you being in a space where you're open to like, I just am where I am and this is what it is. And that allowed that opportunity and that like validation coming through of, yeah, you know what? Here, this is this. And it's like, that would have been true either way, but you knowing it feels different. And you being in a space where you are open to receiving that information, like you're saying, like now it makes me want to show up differently. So
Mm-hmm.
that I think is when we get that like, you don't want to fake it till you make it into the like, I lack, I'm not enough, and I have to force myself to pretend like I am. But in the sense of like, I know that I have so much more potential in me, and I'm going to act like the person that does from this positive, energetic, because you are in that space and being able to say, okay, well now what's next? And I can embody that is just going to move you that much faster. Because for so many of us, I think we look for that external validation. We look
Mm-hmm.
for those certain markers that we think that we're going to see along the way. And when we don't see them, then we think it's all in vain or we start to lose hope and we start to like get down on ourselves. But the fact is that those external markers could be just not in your vision right now. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that they don't exist. So that's where you can embody, rather than fake it till you make it from a lack, you can embody that, like, I probably have a lot of things that I'm hitting. For a lot of our listeners, I know that they are impactful and they are highly capable and they are doing all kinds of things. And it's so easy to feel like it's not enough. And
Mm-hmm.
to be able to sit there and bring back and be like, no, I'm going to trust that all of this work that I'm doing, I may not see the results right now, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And these results can just come in. And the validation is great. Like the validation is amazing. And also, I can still trust that I can continue to act and take these actions from a place of really grounded energy where I can just open myself. And like you're saying, like I'll just allow whatever's
Yeah.
out there.
And give yourself the grace to make that shift. You reminded me of an energy work I should, like a belief I had to reclaim, I guess, is growing up. I always heard you have to see it to believe it, right? Unless you see it, it's not true. And I think a lot of us still operate under that when it's, in fact, the opposite. I have now learned is true. If you believe it, then you see it. And that's kind of what you're saying. Now that I believe, I am worthy enough to receive. I can ask for support. I am open. Like an audit sounds bad. I could, but it's not. I found it the most exciting thing ever. I'm happy for you to tell me what I'm not doing well and I could be doing better because I'm in that place where I'm like, great. What do what do I believe? Well, I believe these things. And then it does open the door. Then you can see it.
Well, and you're doing it from a place of feeling grounded, so it's not going to sway you. I think that sometimes we can take those different opinions,
Yes.
we can take all of that in as like gospel truth of this is the only
True.
way.
Or take it
But
all
you,
instead of pick and choose what works for you.
yeah, and being able to do it from a place where you have real self-trust, then you can take it and bring all the good things of it and not, fall into, oh, now I have to look exactly like this.
Yes. You're such a good mentor. You reflected everything back to me and made it make sense. But but what about you? How was your month?
Oh, May was, I think that growth was a really good word for it because I mean, just kind of doing a quick look back on my month, there's been so many things that have come up. I've gotten so much more clarity around my positioning and the things that I'm doing and how I talk about the work that I do. And having it again where you don't necessarily have the words, but you can see that transformation, starting to get more of those words, which is really great, and being able to like look at what's the baseline, because what the work that I do looks different with each client that I work with in like terms of strategy and the way that we do it and all of those things, but the underground factor that's underneath all of it is really looking into and determining what what that baseline looks like for you, for your mindset, and what the kind of unconscious patterns that you have going on underneath, what is making you show up in the way that you are, because you can have all kinds of strategy, you can have the best tips, you can have all the things, and if it is working against your nervous system, if it is working against how you feel about yourself, or if you're pushing in ways that aren't actually expansive, then it's really not going to have the effect that you want. So I've been really able to dig into a lot of that. And one of the things that I noticed for this month too is that.
Hi, Sparkles. Before we continue with today's episode, I have a few quick announcements to share with you. First, I created a free 3-day experience to help you gently reset your space and your energy. It's called the Spring Energy Refresh. This isn't about perfection or deep cleaning your entire house. It's about clearing stagnant energy, inviting lightness back in, and reconnecting your space to the natural rhythm of spring or this new season. Inside, you'll get simple guided checklists, reflection prompts, and grounding rituals. Just 3 days, and by the end, your home will feel lighter, and so will you. You can download it for free at deliciousease.com/spring. And if you're ready for deeper support, I offer home frequency reset sessions where I help clear the energy in your home so your space feels calm, supportive, and aligned again. Our homes hold on to the emotional residue of everything we experience: stress, transitions, even old patterns. And over time, that can feel heavy. This work gently clears that buildup so your home can truly support you. You can learn more and book a session at deliciousease.com/services. And if you're looking for more, my book, Make Ease Your Vibe, is available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle versions. It's filled with practical tools to shift your mindset, your energy, and your relationship with time in a way that feels intuitive and supportive. And when you purchase your copy, you can get access to exclusive bonuses. I've got bonus content for each chapter at deliciousease.com. And finally, I'm excited to share that Intuitive Wisdom now has listener support open. If this podcast has supported you in any way, you can give back with a monthly donation starting at just $3 a month. As a thank you, you'll receive a shout out on our monthly Insights episode, a custom blessing spoken in your name, and a healing energy intentionally sent your way. It's a beautiful exchange of energy, and it truly helps these conversations flowing. You can become a supporter through the link in the show notes. Thanks for being here, and let's get back to the episode.
This whole past year, like one of the things that I have wanted is I've just wanted to allow more in and more joy and more things. And we have a lot of home projects and things that we're doing, so we haven't been traveling as much. And that is usually my way of like, oh, I need that new energy. And being able to look at it and notice where I can say yes and bring in that everyday kind of magic and connection. I was talking to my husband, and we had gotten invited to go out and hang out with some friends and family that we, would love to hang out with, but it was kind of cold and kind of chilly, and I don't know, it seemed nice to just kind of stay in. It was like, okay, do you want to come? He's like, I'm not sure. I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to go, because what I've been saying this whole time is that I want to bring in more fun. And if I'm not making the space to accept the fun that is coming in, then what am I'm asking for things and then not allowing myself to receive it. So I'm just going to say yes, and I'm just going to do it. And we both went out and we had a great time, and like got to hang out with people we haven't seen in a while. And it was just so lovely. And it was like, this is it. This is what it is. Because sometimes I think that I can put requests out, or I can put things of like, I want more of this stuff. And then when it shows up and it's like, hello, here. And I'm like, maybe that's too much work. Maybe the conditions aren't perfect for that. Try again later. And I'm like, no, let myself like bring it in. It doesn't matter how it looks, what I think it's going to be. And just say yes to more opportunities in whatever form they come.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think so I've been reading a book called Age Like a Girl. It's about perimenopause and menopause, and it's the best. I'm only 50 pages in, and I want to buy everybody a copy. It's very good. And explains a lot. But one of the things I was reading about recently, it was like community and this idea of storytelling and connection, and how much it not only benefits the recipient, but the giver, the
Mm.
storyteller and the storytellee, like literally the chemicals that are released in your brain, and the health wise, how it helps both. And it really made me think about that too. And when you were talking about your example, like being invited out, it not only helped you, but it also surely helped them. And I had a social engagement this weekend too, where normally I would say no because it's a bit of an energy stretch for me. But I had this feeling like, no, you know what? This is going to be a yes. We're going. And we went, and it was lovely. And it was a bit of a stretch for me, but I could see how much joy it brought to the hostess that I had come, like, so it was this nice reciprocal, I don't know, everybody benefited. And it was just, like you said, stepping out a little bit and trusting that what came in for you is for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that I don't know what you've heard, but I feel like sometimes I can get into this protect my energy standpoint, and so I'm trying to make sure because I do really enjoy people. I do really enjoy things, and I also do need a lot of like down, quiet, alone time to decompress and like process and just have that. And so when I am in a mode where I feel like I need to protect my energy, and so I need to say no to things, and not that that's bad, but I really have to be careful about finding that in between where I'm not getting overly protective, where I'm not saying no to more things than I need to because I'm afraid it's going to take from me, because that's just another version of lack, is that I think that I only have this finite source of energy, and if I give it away, then I'm going to be depleted for the rest of the time. And that's not always true, because I can do some of these things and they can actually give me energy.
I was just about to say that I often
Yeah.
misjudge based on old rules. Like, oh, that's going to, like you said, that'll take energy, that won't give it to me. Or, oh, that won't be fun, that'll be like a negative. Not factoring in kind of my new self, or the fact that I know that anything is possible. Like I put rules on it before it's even happened. And I'll
Hmm.
often, in my old habits, protect my energy for like the not fun stuff,
Hmm.
like the work and the
Hmm.
chores, and easily say no to the fun stuff that probably would have been energy returning.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have a hard time saying no to the things that are draining our energy because they're our responsibilities, our obligations. And so then to be able to bring in and say, "Oh, well, I don't have any energy," and then I'm going to live in that same thing, and I'm going to go the next day and I'm going to have the same responsibilities, but I'm
Well,
not
that's the
bringing anything
thing.
in.
Not everything
Yeah.
has to get done today of those responsibilities. I always have to remind myself, because this weekend my list did not get done and I was quite sad at myself. But what really had to get done did get done.
Right. And how many of the responsibilities that we have are not, it's not like a one and done. I'm not going to do the dishes
No.
today and then, oh, whew, that's off my plate for the week. No, it's just going to keep happening. So I have gotten in those modes too where I'm like, oh, I need to reset the house. I need to get whatever. And I'm like, oh, that feels really good. Like I spent the whole day getting everything ready, and the next day everything is trashed again. And like feeling like, oh my gosh, my efforts are not, I could have probably used that. And so that is, I think, part of that, like saying yes. It's where can you look at in your life the things that you have, the roles and the responsibilities that you have, do what you need to, because there are things that we all need to do. We can't abandon it forever, but also where are you maybe overdoing, where you think that like you're just trying to get through something for that sense of accomplishment that will be short-lived, likely, if your household is anything like mine? Or where can I bring in more of those things that are bringing me energy, that are doing, and say no to some of the responsibilities that are just they're gonna still be there. They're still gonna be there when I come back.
And also using your wonderful alignment strategy. You're so good at keeping values. Like you said, hey, wait, I want more like travel experience. I want to get out more. I want to have connection. I want to see something different. And here's an opportunity that's aligned with that value or that desire for this month. Like, why wouldn't I say
I
yes?
would say,
Like you talked yourself into it I want to say rationally, but not just pure energy, but also
yeah,
thinking about like, oh, strategically, this is what I want more in my life. Okay, I'm going to have to do things a little differently. Let's
right.
try this.
Right. Yeah, and looking at like where are those opportunities for bringing in more of that strategy. So speaking of that, we are, we're ending May, we're starting in June. This is a big transition for a lot of our listeners. This is a big transition for a lot of our people. I mean, even as a homeschool mom where we school year round, it's still a transition because what our days look like is different. And looking at that, when I looked into May and I wanted like this, like say yes more, do more of these things, I think that I also was able to bring in and upgrade some of my systemization of what I'm doing. So I didn't feel like I was having to drop the ball on a bunch of things in order to bring in more of these fun things. I was able to like rework all of these things. I thought my website and going through that was just going to be a giant, giant nightmare. And I had been putting it off for a year. And I was able to do it in like a week and a half and be able to get
Yay.
it all done. And it was not a big thing. It gave me energy to do it. But looking at some of those things and saying like, okay, as we grow, as we change, like you had talked about, like how am I looking at things from a lens of maybe a previous version of me or where those rules don't exist anymore? And where am I looking at and maybe have an idealized version of me that I'm not quite at yet? And so I'm thinking that things are going to look and I'm going to have so much more capacity. So when I'm looking at the summer, I'm trying to find that sweet spot in between and be like, where can I look at and say, like, these things are running really smoothly and we have the ability to bring in more of this stuff. I can say yes more. And also, what is the intention that I want to go into it with? What are the values and the things that I want to make sure that I'm doing? So I have that Northern Star to guide me as I'm moving through what can sometimes be a bit of chaos, especially, as it goes on. So looking at and noticing, like, we did so many things. I said yes so much in May, and I was able to do a lot of like all of these other things in business and our household stuff and all of these things. Also, I'm not going to be able to sustain that pace the whole time. And I want to make sure that as I'm saying yes, that I'm looking at and being able to give space for making sure that I have alone time. So I'm not constantly in this expanse, but also processing time. Like, where do I need to fit some of that stuff in as well? And what are the feelings that I want to get moving into this next season?
Yeah. Summer, here we come.
Summer, here we come.
The phrase that I kept hearing in May, and I don't usually use myself, is glow up. And when you were talking, I was reminded of that. So I think I'm going to aim for a glow up this summer and just relax the routine a little bit. I mean, I can't relax everything, but mentally, not hold it so tight and then allow for that space to aim a little higher or do some of those other, like there are some improvements I want to do to the podcast, or you were talking like website, that's been on my list for a while. Or, I mean, there are plenty of projects in the house that have been on the list for a while. So slowly work on those. And like you said, a lot of times they take a lot less time than the fear is telling you it'll take. And I think I'm just going to view it as a glow up. But like you said, the summer in itself, the day is just longer. So maybe you have a few hours in the evening that we don't usually use. But how can we, like, our family's gotten a lot more into sports. Our kids have done a lot more sports. My husband's racing regularly. And there was just this call to do more of that. And great activity for the summer, healthy for everybody. Great. Let's learn the parks that are in our town. Like stepping out a little bit that way. Spending more time outside and like you said, still looking for the moments of rest within the week, but allowing the natural unfolding, even with meals, I'm so strict sometimes about meals, but what if we just follow when we're hungry and we have the food available and not worry so much about the timing of things because there's not school day hours to contend with too and millions of snacks. Yes. So I'm aiming for glow up and reflecting what you said, allow more and not hold myself so tightly to keeping that same push pace. And not that I feel like I'm pushing, but the expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rate.
Yeah. Okay, a couple things came up, and I think that one, when you were talking, and I know that I said the same thing too, and when you were talking, it made me reflect back on my conversation before too, that having the fun and doing the things does not have to be mutually exclusive to my rest. How can I do the things and have the fun and feel rested and recharged? And I think that that is something that we can kind of see sometimes. And I know that I can sometimes get into that where it's like, I have to plan all the things, I have to pack all the food, I have to, and all of the things to do the fun thing turns into just a bunch of chores. Where how can I, and the second thing that came up was that, like, how can I let this be easy? How can I let myself continue to expand and evolve as a person, as a creator, as in all these things? Bring in more of this fun, be able to have those moments and be able to reconnect with myself on even just in the littler moments. So maybe I don't need these giant chunks of time that I thought that I needed before, because I'm feeling so much more connected and grounded to myself that I am not swaying in the breeze so much. And I have these really good roots. And so it doesn't maybe take as much for me to be able to recharge. And how can I just stay? And I think maybe for the summer, having like attunement. How can I just attune to what the energy is in the house, to what my goals are, to the opportunities that I'm allowing in, and how can I just continue to just navigate with that, knowing my values and my intentions that I'm putting forward, but allowing that flexibility.
And to bring it right back to the beginning of the conversation, what you said, that attunement then is to the internal validation and really letting those external validators fall away so that you can feel good and know it yourself and not count it on some external points or whatever it is.
Oh, absolutely. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. It feels like a good segue. Okay. So this month I pulled, and it is a dormant volcano here.
Oh my goodness.
It's potential.
Potential.
Mm-hmm.
Potential. Oh, perfect.
So
Always.
volcano at rest. Volcanoes erupt in places where the Earth's plates meet and where there are cracks, through which lava emerges either explosively or by flowing more slowly down a cinder cone. Even when a volcano is at rest, there is always the possibility of a huge eruption. There is the potential of great power. There are very few things on this planet more commanding than an erupting volcano. The archetypal personality of a volcano is one of wild, unpredictable, and formidable energy. This card appears when you are ready to activate your potential and to step into your strength. This is the time to activate those gifts that you've had on the back burner in your life. You have incredible, untapped potential. This is the time to allow it to flow. An inner wellspring of power is emerging. You have a profound spiritual power that is deep within you. Do not doubt your great authority and capabilities. A dormant volcano might indicate that you have uncomfortable emotions that you are repressing or keeping inside, thus creating emotional stress and inner pressure. It can also mean that you are on the verge of a great expansion of energy and life force.
I'm so excited for us and everyone listening. This is going to be such a good summer.
It's going to be such a good summer.
What a tumultuous start to the year. I would just say, when everyone was like, excuse me, energy, what?
Yes.
And then we're coming out of it. And that's what we start our summer with. Hello, dormant, amazing, like power. That's what it said. Just the potential. I think there is such relief, wisdom, and what's the other word I want? In acknowledging the power that you have in and not feeling the need to express it. Like that quiet power of like, I know I know I'm enough. I know I'm worth it. This is all gonna be okay. I know I'm gonna figure it out. I know like all that potential and kind of what grace that gives us to walk through our glow up or whatever opportunities we see or mind shift we're working on. That's just
Well,
awesome.
and when you're saying that too, you can't force a volcano to explode. It explodes when it's ready, when the pressure is built up, when all of the life force
Yes.
that's in is ready to come out. So all we're here doing is just cultivating that life force and enjoying that energy buildup, and it
Well,
will
and
come
that
out.
it,
Yes.
sorry, interrupted again. That flip of negative to positive, like this book I'm reading on menopause, where like all these symptoms are often feel so damning. And I'd like, apparently the suicide rate for women in their 40s is ridiculously
Oh my
high.
gosh.
But that's just because like isolation and in education, we think, oh God, is this the way I'm going to be for the rest of my life? Or
Mhm.
this is so heavy to walk through like it's so disorienting. And then to realize like it teaches how it's part of this process to the next better you. The 42% of your life will be actually spent the best when you get post this. Feels that way for the volcano. Like the volcano is always this massive, destructive, dark, scary. If
Mhm.
someone is like explosive, that means they're
Oh,
uncontrolled anger or uncontrolled wild. Like it's not seen as a positive thing. And I feel like this potential card is like, nope. It just means you're capable of hello world, can't ignore me. Like it's just available that and even lava, right? The magma from the center of the earth, that's never ending. That's always flowing.
yep.
I find it exciting.
Yes, and it's so much so like the magma and it's coming through and then we're just allowing little spouts. And anybody who's willing to hold that life force and hold that.
Life force, good word.
Yeah. All
Amen.
right. Well, thank you so much, Kay Margaret. It's a
Thank you. And
pleasure.
yeah, as always, happy June.
Happy June.
Thank you for joining me on Intuitive Wisdom. If this episode brought you clarity or inspiration, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It truly helps others find this space. And if someone you love, you could use a shift in energy, share this episode with them. You never know what might resonate. For more, explore my frequency reset service, tune into more episodes, or begin the journey through my book, all at deliciousease.com. That's DELICIOUSEASE.com. All right, until next time, trust your energy, honor your space, and keep coming home to yourself.